Philodendron Burle Marx, a lovely, stunning green plant for your living area. But for this video, allow me to call it Burle Marx.
Hello my plant homies, welcome back again here in my channel. If you are new here, welcome. You're here in Lady Enchantress Garden and Travel. For today's video, we will be talking about this luscious green beside me. It's called Philodendron Burle Marx. You might be here in this video because you are considering to buy, purchase, or somebody might be interested to give you a cutting and you don't really know all about Burle Marx. Well, let me share something I know about this plant. First, I think this is the most fun philodendron to grow. This is a very fast growing vining philodendron and it is not as dramatic as other kinds of plants. Well, not as dramatic as a gardenia, but not as the same as other philodendrons. Like, I'm not gonna be pushing out leaf today because I don't want to be watered by tap water. I only like distilled water and be watered in a weekend. So it's not really like that. It is so easy. There is no major fertilization required, which is very suspicious because as you can see, there's a very lush green leaf right here. And this plant does not really require like so much sun, which is in general anyway for the philodendrons. They don't really need a full 8 harsh sun for them to grow. And for those of you who are in the northern hemisphere, like somewhere maybe in the north, in Canada or in Washington, maybe the growth might not be similar because if you're in the tropics, we rock and roll. We don't have like hibernation period for this. They just grow like crazy. And I had this plant for only a couple of months and the growth is really spectacular for me. Like, can you see the difference? If not, then I'm just gonna pull out a picture that the leaf is just a bit smaller and then the new leaf is almost looking like a billet. This is just so cool. And this plant is actually given to me by my cousin, which is so sweet and nice for her. This is a variegated Burle Marx, but it reverted back to green. But it's okay. I know it will just go back if I do cut this and then the new growth would possibly be reverted. But anyway, I will give you an update. But sharing to you that you need this in your life, especially if you are a grower that's only starting to grow philodendron. Like this would be, I would suggest, the very first philodendron that you have to grow. You know, that's not so picky, that does not require so much space, does not really require so much attention. And I will show you the back of its roots and how it looks like and give you some tips in a while. I do highly suggest though that you must consider a container which is already big enough. Like, I'll show you the container, like this big. If you wanted to grow a lush philodendron Burle Marx, because for me it is easier for the roots to, you know, have the liberty to go around and absorb all the nutrients in the pot, and then you don't really have to go through major fertilization. Again, this is not, if not I haven't mentioned, this was not ever fertilized. It has only a bit of compost here and there that is already pre-mixed with the cocoa cubes that I am actually using for this mix. Although the bottom here is like the normal garden soil, but the rest, like the 70%, is just really a porous medium. So tip number 1 for me is that just don't overwater. Generally philodendrons are very prone to root rot and most of the aeroids actually. If you are a beginner gardener, this is so much fun. You just make sure that it is not underwater or overwater. The easiest way for you is spray bottle would be your best friend. So I don't usually pour water on this. I just spray and sprinkle the water at the back. I'll show you the back of this plant, because the roots are here and you have to be very careful because the roots are very light and they are very fragile. So you might just like accidentally break one or two. I think I did that already, but in a way it generally looks super healthy. Sometimes it requires a support, like a pole. Like some of my friends and my cousin, I've seen that they have pole because this is a viny plant, but it's up to you. So far for me, it was just nothing. It did not really give me a hard time. Also did not grow down to get like the same with the zebrina, like the discussion zebrina. It just went up. I think it follows the light because I place it in an area where the light is being positioned in this direction, and it was kind of leaning, I mean, planted here on this side, so it has no other choice but to lean towards the light. And again, this variegation will be possible if I cut this. It's not a guarantee, of course. It depends on the light and on the plant food that I'll be giving, but I'm so confident to have this variegated back again, variegated leaf. But for me, it does not really matter. I love plants in general, even if they are tagged as not expensive, or that's a common plant, or that plant is ugly. There's no such thing as plant is ugly. How can you call a green, being ugly? So this is a beautiful plant for me, a must-have in your collection. Again, it just goes really crazy if you're in the tropics because they thrive in this environment very well. It's so conducive for them. And what else? In terms of insects and infestation, so far I did not have any insects here. Sometimes there's ants here and there, but it's not really a major problem. I just normally don't wipe it with oil. I don't really suggest that, but although some of you are maybe using neem oil, but it's not really necessary. If they become too dusty, because especially if it's outside, if it's not raining so much that it eventually just clears up the dust in the leaf, you just wipe it with a little bit damp facial tissue. Because if you also do get crazy with the wiping, it damages the surface of the leaf, and that is prone to being sunburned or being damaged leaf. So this is such a beautiful, easy, fun to grow philodendron that I have, and I highly suggest, again, for those of you who haven't got the chance to have the Burle Marx, you need this. You need this in your life. Okay, if you have question and if you have suggestion or if you have experience growing this, let me know on the comment section below. Or if you want me to do an update of this plant, maybe let's see if we can have the variegation back again. Although I can see it right here in this leaf, I think it's trying to, I'm not sure if you can see that, but it leaves a kind of mark again with the variegation. I'm not just sure. Maybe it's still too young to note, but I think this leaf is starting to, give again the white color. The variegation itself for a plant is not beneficial. Like for a plant, why should I variegate myself? For me not to absorb enough photosynthesis, like why? So we don't put pressure. I love them as green and I love to grow them, and this is so far one of my top 3, I think, philodendron that I have. To be honest, I'm not a fan of the Prince of Orange and whatever orangey philodendron there is. I just like it in general green or dark, like Espiritu Sancti, Marble, Philodendron, Dark Lord, of course. So yeah. Cool! So again, thank you for watching, and I'll probably have some of the clips towards the end of the video.